theme below. 1. Category of graphics card prefix number range, last 2 digits, price range. B. USD, shader amount. C. Memory sample products type width size entry level no prefix. G. GTX 430045 and LT $100 and LT 25% DDR2 GDDR3 GDDR5 DDR4 25 50% tilde 25% GeForce GT 430 GeForce Set 730 GeForce GT 1030 Mid-range GTS GTX RTX 5065 $130,000 and 25 50% GDDR3 GDDR5 X GDDR6 50 75% 50 100% GeForce GTX 760 GeForce Set 960 GeForce GTX 1060 6 GB, high. And GTX RTX 7095 and GT 30,000 and $50 100% GDDR5 GDDR5X GDDR6 GDDR6X 75 100% 75 100% GeForce GTX 980T GeForce GTX 1080T GeForce RTX 2080T. Suffixes indicate its performance layer, and those listed are in order from weakest to most powerful. Suffixes from lesser categories can still be used on higher performance cards. Example, GeForce 8800 GT. Price range only applies to the most recent generation and is a generalization based on pricing patterns. Shader amount compares the number of shaders pipelines or units in that particular model range to the highest model possible in the generation. Earlier cards such as the GeForce 4 follow a similar pattern. Compare Nvidia's performance graph here. Graphics device drivers. Official proprietary. Nvidia develops and publishes GeForce drivers for Windows 10 x86/x86-64 and later, Linux x86/x86-64/ARMv70, OS X 10.5 and later, Solaris x86/x86-64 and FreeBSD x86/x86-64. 44. A current version can be downloaded from Nvidia and most Linux distributions contain it in their own repositories. Nvidia GeForce Driver 340.24 from the 8th of July, 2014 supports the EGL interface enabling support for Wayland in conjunction with this driver. 45. 46. This may be different for the Nvidia Quadro brand, which is based on identical hardware but features OpenGL certified graphics device drivers. On the same day the Vulkan Graphics API was publicly released, Nvidia released drivers that fully supported it. 47. Nvidia has released drivers with optimizations for specific video games concurrent with their release since 2014. Having released 150 drivers supporting 400 games in April 2022. 48. Basic support for the DRM mode setting interface in the form of a new kernel module named NVIDIA Modeset.ko has been available since version 358.09 beta. 49. The support NVIDIA's display controller and the supported GPUs is centralized in NVIDIA Modeset.ko. Traditional display interactions, X11 modesets, OpenGL swap buffers, VDBOR presentation, SLI, stereo, frame lock, G-Sync, etc. Initiate from various user mode driver components and flow to NVIDIA Modeset.ko. 50. In May 2022, Nvidia announced that it would release a partially open-source driver for the Turing architecture and newer, in order to enhance the ability for it to be packaged as part of Linux distributions. At launch, Nvidia considered the driver to be alpha quality for consumer GPUs, and production ready for data center GPUs. Currently the user space components of the driver, including OpenGL, Vulkan, and CUDA, remain proprietary. In addition, the open source components of the driver are a wrapper for the GPU system processor, GSP, firmware, a binary blob. 51, 52, third-party free and open source. Community-created, free and open source drivers exist as an alternative to the drivers released by Nvidia. Open source drivers are developed primarily for Linux, however there may be ports to other operating systems. The most prominent alternative driver is the reverse-engineered free and open-source Nouveau Graphics device driver. Nvidia has publicly announced to not provide any support for such additional device drivers for their products. 53. Although Nvidia has contributed code to the Nouveau driver. 54. Free and open-source drivers support a large portion, but not all, of the features available in GeForce branded cards. For example, as of January 2014, Nouveau driver lacks support for the GPU and memory clock frequency adjustments, and for associated dynamic power management. 55. Also, Nvidia's proprietary drivers consistently perform better than Nouveau in various benchmarks. 56. However, as of August 2014 and version 3.16 of the Linux kernel mainline, contributions by Nvidia allowed partial support for GPU and memory clock frequency adjustments to be implemented. Licensing and privacy issues. The license has common terms against reverse engineering and copying, and it disclaims warranties and liability. 57. Starting in 2016, the GeForce license says Nvidia software may access, collect non-personally identifiable information about, update, and configure customers' system in order to properly optimize such system for use with the software. 57. The privacy notice goes on to say, we are not able to respond to do not track signals set by a browser at this time. We also permit third-party online advertising networks and social media companies to collect information. We may combine personal information that we collect about you with the browsing and tracking information collected by these cookies and beacons technologies. 58. The software configures the user's system to optimize its use, and the license says, Nvidia will have no responsibility for any damage or loss to such system, including loss of data or access, arising from or relating to, a. Any changes to the configuration, application settings, environment variables, registry, driver's bias, or other attributes of the system, or any part of such system, initiated through the software. 57. GeForce Experience. GeForce Experience is program containing several tools including Nvidia Shadow Play. 59. Due to a serious security vulnerability, before the March 26, 2019 security update, users of GeForce Experience were vulnerable to remote code execution, denial of service and privilege escalation attacks. 60. When installing new drivers, GeForce Experience may force the system to restart after a 60-second countdown, without giving the user any choice. References. GeForce graphics cards.
Good. So I did finish reading. So just need 2,000 more. Now it's 11:20, so that's 15 minutes, and my camcorder is low on power. So now we can upload. So we have to read this tomorrow. Intel graphic technology. That's on the CPUs, or this Intel Core processors. They have a GPU graphic processing units with some simple graphic, but not the one called F like 12400F for desktop. The F models don't have a graphic GPU, so I like to read about it. No, if you have an office computer, with no office desktop computer, with no graphic cards, you can still run some simple graphic. But this is getting more and more advanced, this graphic. But I don't think you cannot play modern games. Yes, now we need a break because something I got into here. I will continue later.